Hello viewers, welcome back to another episode. In the last few videos, we have been talking about bones. But the discussion of bones will be incomplete if we don't cover joints. So, from this episode, we'll be discussing joints, the general anatomy of joints, the classification, etc. So, in this episode, we'll touch the development of joints. So, let's begin.
Joints are the regions of the skeleton where two or more bones meet and they articulate with each other. These articulating junctions are supported by a variety of soft tissue structures, and their prime functions are either to facilitate the growth or to transmit the forces between the bones. Now, this enables the movement to occur or weight to be transferred. The simplest classification of joints relate to either the range of the movement possible or the nature of the intervening soft tissue. Now, free movements occur at synovial joints, that means the joints where there is a presence of a joint cavity with a synovial membrane, whereas restricted movement occurs at other joints that are sometimes referred to as synarthrosis. Now, these synarthroses are commonly subdivided into fibrous and cartilaginous joints, and that depends upon again the principal type of intervening connective tissue.
An interesting trivia about joints is that there are more joints in children than in adults. This happens because in children there are more bones, and as the child grows, some of the bones they fuse together. For example, the ilium, the ischium, and the pubis they join together and fuse to form a single bone, which is the hip bone. So the number of bones in adults reduces compared to the child, and therefore the number of joints in adults are also less compared to a child. So let us now come to the main focus of our video, the development of joints. To understand this, first you need to go back and look at our previous video where we discussed the ossification of bones. If you see that, you will understand that in the limb bud, at first, the mesenchymal condensations for the future bones become recognizable. Now, the somatopleuric mesenchymal cells, which are present between these mesenchymal condensations for future bones, they become more condensed. These form plates of interzonal mesenchyme and they mark the areas for the future joints. Their subsequent development will vary according to the type of joint. In fibrous joints, this interzone is converted into collagen. In primary cartilaginous joints, it becomes hyaline cartilage. In secondary cartilaginous joints, they predominantly become fibrocartilage.
Now, let us see how a synovial joint develops. The interzonal mesenchyme of the developing synovial joints becomes trilaminar. Now, this happens when there is a development of a more loosely arranged intermediate zone which splits the mesenchyme into two dense strata and the loosely woven strata in between. As the skeletal elements chondrify, the dense strata of the interzonal mesenchyme also becomes cartilaginous. Now, this is the articular cartilage that will line the bones which articulate to form the joints. Next, there is cavitation of this intermediate zone which establishes the joint cavity. Now, the loose mesenchyme around the cavity forms the joint capsule and the other interarticular structures which may include the tendons, ligaments, menisci, and many more. The same mesenchymal tissue around this cavity will give rise to the synovial membrane. Now, in joints containing discs or menisci and in compound articulation, more than one cavity may appear initially, sometimes merging later into a complex single cavity.
So you can see here that at the end of the development, the structures of the synovial joints become visible. You can see the joint capsule, and you can see that the surface of the bones is lined by the articular cartilage, and the two bones that form the joint is separated by a cavity. This is the joint cavity or the synovial cavity. So as development proceeds, the thickenings in the fibrous capsule can be recognized as specializations peculiar to a particular joint. In some joints, some parts of the fibrous capsule may be derived from neighboring tendons, muscles, or cartilaginous elements. Now, as you have seen that cavitation occurs in the mesenchyme for formation of the synovial cavity. Initially, the process of cavitation of a joint is independent of any movement. It starts on its own. But a true proper joint cavity can form only in the presence of movements. All musculoskeletal elements are in their appropriate positions by 10 weeks of development.
So this was a short episode about development of joints. In subsequent videos, we will talk about joints in details. Keep watching Anatomy Weekly. Thank you.